Chapter 3 of the Pixie Plane of Existence, Ben caught stealing treasures. The morning was passing too slowly for Kat, who had been up by 7, ready for the day. She didn't want to wear any of her new clothes, so she pulled on a pair of ripped jeans, a white tank top, and a green cardigan. Pulling her hair back into a messy ponytail and placing a worn-out baseball cap on her head, Kat was ready for another day in the forest. She was anxious to hang out with Winnie and Jenna in the woods. It was so much better than going to the mall with her mom or doing chores. However, first she was obligated to help her mother in the garden, which was going crazy. The cucumbers and carrots were enormous. "Mom, what are you doing to this garden? There's so much stuff," Kat said incredulously. Her mother was very proud of the yield. "Yeah, pretty cool, huh? I've just been watering it and giving it a lot of love. The hummingbirds seem to like it too." Kat perked up. "I've seen them by our willow and in the woods. They're crazy fast. You can hardly spot them, and then they're gone. I think there is one in particular that likes hanging out here. I catch it near my gazing balls, and then it zips off as soon as I sense I'm here." "I think there is one in particular that likes hanging out here. I catch it near my gazing balls, and then it zips off as soon as it senses I'm here," Julia replied. She had decorated her flower and vegetable gardens with hanging crystals, rusty metal flowers, and mercury glass balls that were set on twig stands, not to mention several moss-covered statues. She was a master gardener and had herbs interspersed with flowers which bled into a thriving vegetable patch. "Mom, my basket is full. Can I go see if Jenna and Winnie are at the fort?" Kat was tired of making small talk with her mother and doing chores. She was in a hurry to get to the Oak Ridge woods. The corners of her mom's mouth turned down, but she gave Kat permission to go. So she quickly gathered up her basket of veggies and set them on the counter once inside their cozy kitchen. Then she grabbed her backpack, threw in an apple from their tree, and headed out the front door. When she finally made it to Shrinington, they were already there. Winnie was standing next to Jenna, intently looking over her shoulder. They were obviously engrossed in something important. "Hey guys, what you looking at?" Kat called as she set down her heavy bag and walked over to the group. Jenna was holding a worn book with a black leather cover. There was a faded gold title on it, but it had been so worn that she couldn't make out but a few letters. A tree with bare branches and tangled roots was embossed onto the leather. It reminded her of a Bible, but it wasn't as thick. The pages were yellowed and dog-eared. Upon closer inspection, she saw intricate drawings and beautiful handwriting. "I found this really awesome book in the bargain bin at Kellerman Antiques. I thought it was a journal at first, but it's a grimoire," Jenna exclaimed. She turned to Kat and explained more. "That means this was someone's spell book. I found some stuff in another language, and other stuff is in English. On the inside cover, it is signed by Ruby Rose Fitzgerald, 1900. Winnie excitedly added, "I think we should look her up. Maybe she was from around here." Jenna scrunched up her face in disagreement. "No way. Kellerman's gets things from all over the country. I doubt it is from here." Winnie rolled her eyes. "It could be. We do have the shrine here, right?" The girls argued back and forth a bit before Kat stepped in. Guys! It doesn't matter. Jenna found this book for a reason, so let's take a look and see if there's something we want to try," she suggested. They paged through it together, looking for something easy. Winnie passed a page that caught Jenna's eye. She shouted, "Wait! Go back! I saw some sort of healing spell. I want to try it. My mom needs to get better. The treatments are taking a toll on her." Winnie started flipping back, but was negative about it. "Do you think we are ready to try something like that? Why don't we look for a binding spell or something? School is coming up." Jenna and Winnie looked at each other nervously at the mention of school. "Okay, but I want to skim it and bookmark it. We have to try it soon because I want to help my mom. That's why I let you talk me into this stuff, Jenna replied. We also need this for protection from certain people. Remember last year? Winnie reminded her. Kat wasn't privy to the information, but she guessed they were both victims of the cool kid clique. It didn't take a genius to figure out that her new friends weren't exactly prom queen material. You're both wicked awesome to me, Kat blurted out. They both let out a gregarious laughter at her honesty. With a lightened mood, Jenna skimmed the spell with her finger. Healing of the illness. Tools: large white candle, incense, green placket or green ribbon, flesh of the intended such as hair, fingernails, or teeth, personal effects such as letter, photograph, or jewelry. Instructions: perform on a Friday, the day of all healing. Place a personal effect inside the wax poppet. Light the white candle and incense, then place the poppet in the middle of the altar. Take hands with your coven and all speak these words thrice. We ask the god and goddess to bring forth healing of illness. Show, person's name, your gift of wellness. Burn the sickness as we burn the poppet. The witch with the closest relationship to the sick will burn the poppet after the spell has been cast. Blessed be Ruby Rose Fitzgerald. This looks like something we could do, Jenna said as she stared intently at the spell. I know that I could make a wax doll of my mom out of some candles and get some hair. It's falling out a lot these days because of the chemo. Jenna's voice was quivering, barely above a whisper. Winnie was not empathetic. She rolled her eyes as she snatched the book away. This spell is not for beginners. We should start with something else. I mean, we haven't even set a proper altar. We first need to initiate ourselves into a coven. Kat didn't understand everything that was being said, but she did agree with Winnie. For the time being, spells were serious. She wanted to make sure that they, knew what they were doing before they embarked on anything. Even so, it was hard to deny Jenna, knowing how desperately she wanted to help her mom. Winnie continued to page through the book until she found what she was looking for. It was right at the beginning of the grimoire. The fanciful handwriting at the top said, Coven Initiation and Dedication. Winnie showed it to both Kat and Jenna. I think this is what we should do first. Then after that we can practice with some smaller spells that don't require too much knowledge of magic. We have to work our way up. We can't go all willy-nilly. She confidently instructed, Jenna, jot this down. We're going to need anointing oil, a goddess candle, white, a god candle, red, chalice, cauldron, incense, bell, salt, wand, and libation dish. What are all those things, and where are we going to find them? Kat inquired. She was starting to feel nervous about this whole initiation thing. Sure, it was fun for her to come here and hang out, but after what she'd experienced with calling of the directional guardians, everything they were doing became extremely real. Still, at this point, she didn't feel like she could back out. Kat genuinely wanted to help Jenna with her mom. She wanted to have friends at school. She wanted to settle into this new life she'd been forced into by her parents' issues. She felt like this was the only way to fit in. Even if she wasn't prepared for everything that went along with practicing the craft, she was, indeed, a reluctant witch. Well, I think we could go back to Kellerman's Antiques and find some of this stuff. I know I saw a silver dinner bell there when I was browsing, suggested Jenna. Okay, let's all take a few of the items from the list. See if you have anything on hand in your houses. The rest we can get in town. Then we will meet back here at sundown tomorrow. It's going to be a full moon. No better time to do this, Winnie dictated. Kat sighed. Sounds like a plan. Jenna seized the book from Winnie and started to put it back into her bag. Since we don't have any of the stuff we need for this, I'm taking off. Jenna was a little pissy, but who wouldn't be? Winnie always got her way. Hey, Jen, I wanted to take it home with me so I can study it a little bit. You've already looked through it, right? Winnie prodded. She tilted her head to the side and gave Jenna puppy dog eyes. Jenna scowled. No, I just got it, and I want to keep it for a while. They argued back and forth about who should possess it until Kat finally had enough. Guys, stop arguing. We should leave it here so nobody has it, Kat suggested. The girls decided to place it on one of the bluff's crevices and cover it with a large rock. Then they all headed back together, excitedly talking about their treasure hunt for tomorrow. Kat was anxious about going to the woods at sundown. She hadn't been there during the evening yet, and she needed to find a flashlight. She wondered if they had one out in the garage. Thoughts raced through her mind, making it hard to concentrate on the conversation. She continued to half listen to Winnie and Jenna. They were talking about the initiation, who should initiate whom and why. The other half of her mind wandered into the problem of how she was going to get out of the house. She knew her mom was not going to be easily convinced about her spending time in the woods after dark. Yep, that sounded like something right out of a horror movie. The next day dragged. After work, Jenna went home to check on her mom. Her twin brother, Jet, was staying with their mother while she cashiered at the local grocery store. She came in the front door, threw the keys down on the counter, opened the fridge, and took a swig of milk before heading into the living room. Hey, Ma, I'm home, she said quietly as she kissed her on the forehead. Her mom was dozing off and the TV was on. Jet was sitting in the recliner reading. Hey, how is she today? Jenna asked. Jet replied, okay, I guess. She's been really tired, dozing off a lot. Not in any pain, though. You got any plans today? I want to take the car and go shopping with Winnie and Kat this afternoon, she told her brother. He rolled his eyes because he knew she was going out whether he wanted her to or not. Jet was and always had been the responsible one. Ugh, fine. I'm not doing anything today but football practice. It's starting next week. I'm going to need for you to help with Mom in the mornings and in the afternoon. We have 2-a-days, Jet informed her. Yeah, okay, I will as much as I can. We need to sit down together and go over my work hours and your practices and get a schedule going, Jenna agreed. So, why are you hanging out with the new girl? Isn't she in 8th grade? Jet asked, curious about his sister's motives. She'd always been a total loner, the odd duck, and she wasn't interested in expanding her social circle. She'd pretty much written everyone in the town off. She constantly talked about her plans to move to New York and join a punk band as soon as she was 18. Yeah, but she is really cool. Plus, it isn't like I'm bursting with friends. I don't have your problem, Jet, Jenna retorted. She got up from the edge of the couch where she sat lightly by her mother's feet and threw her bag around her shoulder. I'm heading out. Be back in like an hour. When Jenna and Winnie pulled into the Kat's driveway, she ran out of the front porch and jumped in the back seat without so much as saying goodbye to her mom. Hey guys, Kat said as she plopped down. She checked her face in the rearview mirror and smiled. It was most excellent to have friends that could drive. As soon as they were out of view, Jenna lit a smoke and blew it in Winnie's direction, which pissed her off, as it was meant to. Ugh, put that grody business out, Jenna. It stinks, she complained, while rolling down the window. Jenna turned around and winked at Kat, and then she inhaled a large last drag and flicked the butt out. Kat wondered aloud, how do you get things anyway? Winnie rolled her eyes and answered for Jenna. From Todd, her shift manager, who's totally a gruesome greaser, but he's 18, and she flirts with him in exchange for smokes. Jenna took offense. He's not gruesome. I think he's kind of cute. Blech. Winnie made a barfing noise. You only like him because he's older than you, and you can sweet-talk him into doing anything for you. So, Kat, Jenna changed the subject. How did you manage to get out of the house? I didn't think your mom would let you go out on a joyride with us, Jenna jeered at her. She shrugged her shoulders. I told her we were going supplies shopping. I didn't say what the supplies were. Grinning ear to ear, she was sure Delia thought she was picking up notebooks and pencils. Winnie and Jenna exploded in laughter. Not a lie and not what you think. That's a good one, Kat, praised Jenna. So, what do we have and what do we still need? Winnie asked them, pulling out her list. I have incense. I got it from my mom's room. She likes to burn it when she's taking a bath, offered Kat. I have a red candle and a white candle, Winnie chimed in. So we need anointing oil, a cauldron, a wand, a libation dish. In Ruby's grimoire, it said the libation dish is a fancy dish for offerings to the divine. Don't forget the bell. I know the exact place we can get that, Jenna reminded them. So let's stop at Kellerman's Antiques first, and then, if we can't find everything there, we can poke around some of the other shops. There's this cool candle shop my mom goes to for incense and candles and stuff. I'm pretty sure that we can find some oil there too, Kat proposed. Preparing for their initiation excited the girls and put them into a jubilant mood. They turned up the radio full blast and sang along, giggling when they sang the wrong lyrics. The wind blew through Kat's hair, and the dying breath of the summer filled her with a deep satisfaction. This must be what being a teenager was all about, freedom and friends and a little bit of trouble. The girls entered Kellerman's Antiques, and the bell jingled to let the shopkeeper, Mr. Kellerman, know that they were there. He looked up from the paper he was reading while perched behind the counter. Hi, girls. Anything I can help you find? No, just browsing, said Jenna casually. Winnie pulled Kat's arm, and she followed her. Jenna went off in a different direction. She knew the place well and was obviously on the hunt for one of her list items. Kellerman's was not fancy. It had exposed brick walls, dim old-fashioned light bulbs hanging from exposed rafters, and a musty smell that tickled Kat's nose. The different booths were packed with items that many people would refer to as junk. Piles of dusty books, kerosene lanterns, old lady clothes. What do you think about this? Winnie said as she brushed the dust off of a small wooden bowl. Yeah, I think that could work, Kat agreed. They kept close to each other, both feeling uneasy in such a cluttered space. Kat's eye was caught by a colorful metal bowl with ornate feet on the bottom. It would work perfectly as a cauldron. She turned it over to check the price. It was $15. She turned to Winnie. It's a little bit expensive, but I like this one. I only have $20. Do you think it's worth it? Winnie took it from Kat's hand and studied it before agreeing. The wooden bowl is only $3 and it isn't as fancy, so I can get the libation dish instead, Winnie offered. She set the wooden bowl back and they walked around some more but didn't find anything. They took their purchases to the counter and Jenna stood behind them. Find everything you were looking for, girls? Mr. Kellerman asked. Kat put her hand-crafted cauldron onto the counter. Mr. Kellerman remarked, Well, this is an interesting piece. Makes you wonder what it was used for. When they got back into the car and were driving off, Jenna pulled the silver bell out from her bag. Jenna, you took that? Upset by the theft, Kat slumped down in the back seat, her arms crossed over her chest. Oh, relax. I buy enough stuff from Kellerman's. This one is on the house this time, she said, blowing off Kat's surprise. Winnie wasn't at all worried about it. Nice piece. Just don't get caught again, she ribbed Jenna. Again? Kat asked. Winnie chuckled. Sometimes Jenna has sticky fingers. Usually she is really good, but one time she totally blew it. Her mom had to come to Walgreens and talk the manager out of pressing charges. Shut up, Winnie, she said, slightly punching her friend in the arm. Jenna looked at her in the rearview mirror with intense amber eyes. Look, Kat, it was a long time ago. I really don't do this very often. I'm just short on cash right now. I need the money I make to help me, Mom, and Jet. We need to eat, okay? Kat shrugged it off. Nothing about Jenna surprised her much anymore. She was not an angel, but she wasn't a bad person either. Kat thought of her as kind of a lost soul. She was trying to help her mom go to school and hold a job. That had to be a lot to take on at only 16. The girls drove a few blocks and ended up at Wicks and Things, the candle shop. It always smelled so good. There were a million different treasures inside. We still need a libation dish and some anointing oil. I think it would be a good idea to pick up a few more candles, too, Kat suggested. The salesgirl wasn't thrilled to see them. She had a sour look on her face and kept a close eye on Kat. which meant she couldn't touch anything. Walking around carefully, looking at candles and oil, she found a small section where handmade jewelry was hung around the necks of wig forms. She immediately picked up a choker made from black leather with a gray stone that had a hole in the very center of it. It was beautiful, and it was on sale for $4. This was meant to be hers. Jenna and Winnie were filling a basket with candles and arguing about the scent of the essential oil they wanted to purchase. I think we should go with patchouli. It's powerful, Jenna was trying to convince Winnie. She crinkled her nose and retorted in a disgusted tone, No way, it stinks. Kat secretly agreed. Winnie kept picking up random vials of oil and putting them up to her nose, but she didn't find anything she liked. Studying all the different fragrances, she picked up the first vial that jumped out at her. It was in a dark brown bottle. The sticker was yellowing and curling at the edges. I like this one. It's called Moon Mother. Smell it. Kat thrust it at their nostrils. Jenna agreed with her immediately. I like it. Spicy and sweet at the same time, just like you. She read the label, and in small, clear cursive was written, cinnamon, cloves, lavender, jasmine, lang lang. Winnie grabbed it from Kat's hand and took a deep breath in. Whatever. Anything is better than that patchouli hippie stink you like, Jen. And with that, she plopped it into the basket. Kat rolled her eyes at Jenna. Why did Winnie think she always had to make the final decision? Winnie walked over to another corner of the shop where there were candle holders on display with metal plates, rocks, and candles in them. She found one that was bronze, and it had a small sun in the middle. Without consulting Kat or Jenna, she put it in the basket for their libation dish. I think we're done. I found this, and it's perfect. Represents the sun god. Plus, it's on sale, Winnie informed her friends of the impending purchase. They brought the basket up to the counter, and the cashier rang them up. Oh, you got the last of this oil. The lady I buy it from stopped making it, she reported to them as she wrapped it up in tissue paper and placed it in a bag. Kat put her necklace up on the counter after they paid for the other items. Wow, that's cool, Kat. I wish I would have seen that, Jenna half jealously remarked. This is the only one of its kind, too. I purchased it at an estate sale, said the lady behind the counter. And it is on sale for only $4. That will be $4.12 with tax. Kat handed her the $5 she still had crinkled in her jeans pocket. By the time the girls were done shopping, it was nearly time for dinner. Kat was starving, her stomach churning out angry growls. We can't all go back to my place. We can all go back to my place, and I can make some mac and cheese, offered Jenna. Kat hadn't been inside Jenna's house before. It smelled like old cigarettes and household cleaners. The kitchen was large, with white farmhouse cabinets, worn wood floors, and old appliances from the 40s or 50s. The floral wallpaper was faded and had started to peel in one of the corners. Kat liked it. It felt welcoming. She was starstruck when she saw Jenna's brother Jet wiping down the counters and putting dishes in the sink. He was tall, muscular. Just a moment. I'll be right back. She was starstruck when she saw Jenna's brother Jet wiping down the counters and putting dishes in the sink. He was a tall, muscular version of Jenna. Wavy auburn hair, deep amber eyes with flecks of rust, and adorable freckles dotting his nose and cheeks. He had perfect white teeth and a pierced ear. Were there angels singing? Hey, Jet, how's Mom? Jenna asked right away as they came in the door. She's in bed, but she wanted to see you, he said in an annoyed voice. Don't wake her up, though. Jenna apologized, her voice in a low whisper. I'm so sorry. We kind of lost track of time. I'm going to make some macaroni and cheese, and me and the girls are going to hang out for a while. Do you want any? He ignored Jenna's question. Hi, I'm Jet. He held out his hand to Kat. The breath caught in her throat, and she couldn't seem to get words to come out. She could feel the flush of crimson in her cheeks and a tingling in her ears. Kat hated that her milk glass skin always gave telltale signs when she was nervous. She managed to eke out a hi. Winnie settled in next to Kat. Hey, Jet, how's football going? She was desperately trying to flirt with him, flipping her hair and blinking her eyes. He nodded in her general direction, but didn't say anything. In an attempt to show off, he grabbed an apple from the fridge, threw it in the air, and caught it behind his back before turning the corner and climbing the steps up to his room. "Check you later, goth girls," he called out. Jenna pulled a pot from one of the cabinets and began filling it with water. Winnie, ever impatient, drummed her nails on the table. It was dressed in a blue checkered tablecloth, and in the center sat a vase of daisies that were past their prime. Jenna removed her black shawl and tossed it onto one of the kitchen chairs. "Can I help you with anything?" Kat offered. Jenna smirked. "It doesn't take a lot of talent to make macaroni and cheese, honey." And she bustled about the kitchen. Winnie started taking their tools from the bag. "Hey, Jen, look at this bowl thingy Kat found. Isn't it cool?" "Mm-hmm, super cool," she said without really looking at it. Winnie started placing their candles, oil, dish, and bell on the table. The last thing she pulled out of the bag was Kat's necklace. "We should try and get prepared before we go tonight. Aren't you guys excited? We're going to be legit witches." To tell the truth, Kat was too tired to be excited and nervous about turning up home late, but she couldn't back out now. A grounding was definitely in her future. Her best hope was that whatever this initiation spell did, that it worked and she would be able to spell her mother into forgetting she'd been late. "Winnie, can you tie this necklace on me? I would like to wear it tonight." "Sure. Come here." She motioned for Kat to kneel in front of her. Winnie took her thick black hair and pulled it tightly back into a ponytail before moving it to one side. She tied the leather choker around her neck so tight that it was uncomfortable. "Ow, Winnie, that's a little snug," Kat complained. Winnie didn't apologize. She just loosened it a bit. Kat flipped her hair back and sat in her seat. The meal was done, and Jenna served them before sitting down and slurping her macaroni up messily. She ignored good manners and talked with her mouth full. "So tonight, we're going to learn how to do real magic, and I'm a little nervous." Of course, Winnie was ever confident. "It will be fine. I know that we were meant to do this. It's all coming together. That's why Kat's here. And you found the grimoire. Did you guys have flashlights or anything? I forgot to look for one this morning. I'm sure Bluff's trail is going to be hard to find in the dark." Kat's mind was racing, imagining horror film antics happening. "Bluff's trail? Is that what you call the path leading to Shrinington?" asked Jenna before continuing. "That's a cool name. I'm impressed." Kat was pleased with herself. "Whatever. If we're naming things now, can we at least vote on it in the future? Shrinington and Bluff's Trail? Pfft, super duper fly." The sarcasm dripped like honey, thick and sticky, hanging uncomfortably in the air. Jenna came to her defense. "Why? What's the point? This isn't a democracy. And it isn't like you had any ideas, Winnie. We've lived here forever, and we never named the shrine or the trail. It's a non-issue." "Okay. Well, if we're done eating, we can pack all this crap up in our bags and get going." Winnie was pushy as usual. "Hey, Jet," Jenna hollered up the stairs. "I'm going out again. I'll be back in like an hour." She got up abruptly. "Come on, guys. Let's go before he guilts me into staying in tonight." Kat was nervous that as they passed her house, Delia would come out and demand that she come inside. To make matters even better, Jenna was smoking. "Is there another way to get to the shrine?" Kat asked out of curiosity. "Yeah, but it's totally far away. The woods are part of a city park with a bike trail that is like 5 miles long. You can get into the woods from the bike trail, but we'd have to go all the way back into the middle of town," Jenna replied. "And we wouldn't really know the way, especially in the dark. We never come in that way," Winnie said, a bit irritated. "Relax. We'll be quiet as we pass by your house. I'm sure your mom won't even know we are there." The girls made it successfully to Bluff's Trail. The sun was sinking fast and the woods were eerie. The low hum of crickets enveloped them, and little animals scurried away and rustled leaves. Shivers ran up Kat's back, and she linked arms with Jenna, straining to see what was in front of her. The full moon had trouble breaking through the heavy canopy of trees. Jenna started singing in a creepy voice. Have you seen the ghost in the woods? Long white bones with a dark cloak hood. Ooh, ah, ooh. Wouldn't it be spooky if that's where he stood? She giggled afterwards, but the song that was meant to lighten everyone's spirits had the opposite intended effect. Oh, shut up, Jenna. We don't need you trying to freak us out, snapped Winnie. Jenna didn't talk back. She just lit another smoke and passive-aggressively blew a plume in her direction. Winnie was in front of them with her flashlight, and she turned around and gave Jenna a dirty look. Don't start a fire, please, she snipped. Jenna continued smoking, exaggerating her exhales, until they made it to the cave, and then she crushed it out before entering. Well, who wants to go first? Winnie asked, obviously not her. I think we should all go together. It will be a little tight, but... Cat trailed off as Jenna interrupted. Quit being such big babies. I'll go. It is the same now as it is in the daytime. She pulled back the vines and disappeared into the mouth of the cave. The keychain flashlight bounced off the dark stone, casting crazy-looking shadows everywhere. Winnie followed Jenna, and Cat was the last to go. Then Jenna stepped on something that spooked her. She took off running, and Winnie followed. Cat was left in darkness, the bouncing light moving farther and farther away from her. She wanted to start sprinting too, but she didn't dare for fear of catching her foot on the uneven ground and tripping. Wait up! I can't see! She yelled out. No such luck. All of a sudden, the cave lost the light. All of a sudden, the cave lost the last sliver of light from ahead. Cat's breathing was hard and fast. She could hear her heartbeat drumming in her ears, but forced herself to walk the rest of the way to the other side. Her fingers traced the cold rock wall, which guided her in the darkness. Just a little longer, she repeated to herself until she finally made it to the vine curtain on the other side. Cat pushed through, and she heard her friends shrieking in fits of nervous laughter. They were jumping up and down. Totally majestic! We made it, dudes! Jenna exclaimed. She hugged her when she stepped into the shrine. Sorry, kitty cat, I got a little spooked, she said apologetically. Winnie said nothing. Instead, she sneered at her with her eyebrows raised. Well, should we get started setting up? Jenna asked excitedly. The smooth slabs of stone appeared completely different at night. Looking up through the long circular walls was like being at the bottom of a well, with the moon situated directly in the center. The stars were absolutely brilliant in the sky, billions of white dots, so much brighter here than in the city. Winnie went and pulled the book from its hiding place, while Jenna lit some candles to give the girls more light. The flashlight was placed in one of the ancient torch holders. Here, Cat, can you draw the circle? Jenna held out the chalk to her and the bag of salt. Winnie made a cat-butt face at the suggestion. She bossed her. Put a star in the middle of it and write the first letter of each direction outside of it. While Cat was drawing the circle, electric static made the tips of her fingers tingle. She was convinced that any second sparks were going to fly out from beneath the chalk. Her ears were ringing in a low hum, like a sharp blade that had clashed with another in a sword fight. 5 white candles were set on top of the letters marking the cardinal directions. The top of the star was marked with an S to signify spirit. Jenna set out the white candle on the left side of the star and the red candle on the right. In the middle of the pentacle, Winnie set out the goblet, cauldron, and libation dish. Cat grabbed the incense and anointing oil from her bag and set each of them down on the left side. Jenna slyly pulled the bell from beneath her shawl and set it on the right. Okay, it looks perfect, Winnie observed. Shall we call the guardians of the divine elements? Kat spoke up. Who's going first? I mean, we all have to accept each other, right? So we should read the initiation spell first? Winnie was annoyed because she obviously felt that it should be her. Jenna shrugged and suggested that they could toss a coin to decide who would go. Whoever gets heads first gets to do initiation first, even if it's first toss. Winnie impatiently grabbed the quarter out of Jenna's hands and tossed it. Tails. She handed it to Jenna. Also tails. It was Kat's turn to flip, and now she was wishing she hadn't said anything because she didn't really want to be first. She took a deep breath and tossed. Heads, of course. Looks like you got what you wanted, Winnie scoffed and crossed her arms over her chest. Jenna handed Kat Ruby's grimoire. Then she dug in her pocket and pulled out a small burlap pouch and opened it. Inside was salt that she threw over her left shoulder. She winked at Kat for good omens. Wait, guys, we don't have wands. It says that each of us is to point it toward the moon after initiation. Kat explained upon reading from the spell. Jenna looked around and found a few fallen twigs around the perimeter. They're not fancy, but they'll do, she said and handed them each a stick. All of them were crooked, but Kat spiraled near the tip. It was absolutely beautiful. Okay, well, let's call the directional guardians together. Then I'll go clockwise. So, Jenna, after I initiate myself, I will initiate you, and then you can do Winnie, Kat confidently instructed them. Jenna shrugged. Sounds good to me. You okay with that, Winnie? Winnie nodded. The girls linked arms, and careful to stay inside the circle, they each faced north, repeating the calling of the quarters in unison. Their voices sounded so powerful and otherworldly. Watchers of the north, with your power of earth, growth, and renewal, we invoke thee. Watchers of the east, with your power of stillness and your power of wind, we invoke thee. Watchers of the south, with your power of fire and light, we invoke thee. Watchers of the west, with your powers of river, ocean, and rain, we invoke thee. Witness this rite and guide us, blessed be. Again, as they called the directional guardians, the elements responded. The wind blew through the cave, rattling the vines, even though it had been still only moments before. Their candles flamed high. Sprinkles of rain came down from the heavens despite a clear sky, and the smell of the earth was rich and moist, its creatures humming in a symphony. Instinctively, after calling the quarters, she flipped to the initiation rite and started reading aloud from Ruby's grimoire. My God and my goddess, my Lord and my Lady, Father, Son, and Mother Moon, I call you to witness the consecration of our altar. The wind started howling and blew Kat's hair from her face. She continued calmly, I offer you this gift of cake and wine. Eat and drink to you. She looked nervously at Jenna. Obviously, the girls hadn't read what the rite included beforehand and were woefully unprepared. Without a word, Jenna solemnly pulled some crushed Oreo from her bag and placed them on the libation dish. They poured what little wine they had left from her canteen into the chalice. Kat took a bite from the crumpled cookie and a sip of wine and continued with the ritual. She squinted at the lovely cursive writing, repeating the words on the page. I anoint myself unto you. As Ruby's spell directed, she used the moon goddess oil and drew the pentacle on her forehead. May I now have the sight of the third eye. Lord and Lady, guide me, guard our circle, and I will always pledge to honor the rede of the Druids. Do what thou wilt, though thou shalt hurt none. I, Katerina Stoneheart, take the oath of witch, a secret I keep from others, not inside our circle. Blessed be. When she was finished, she passed the Book of Shadows to Jenna and listened to her stammer the oath. When the time for the anointing came, she said, I anoint Jenna Linden unto you, and drew the pentacle on her head with the oil. Jenna said the rest and handed the book to Winnie. Just as Kat had done for her, Jenna anointed Winnie with the words, I anoint Winona Altenberg unto you. When they had all pledged their loyalty to their coven of three, Kat closed the circle. May my God and my goddess, my Lord and my Lady, Father, Son, and Mother Moon, thank you for honoring us. with your presence. And now that our initiation is complete, we close our sacred circle. Blessed be. With that, she blew out the red candle and the white candle. The wind that had swirled fiercely around them was gone in an instant. Winnie's eyes were glowing with excitement. Let's try something. Just to see if we can do it, she tempted them. Kat was exhausted, and it was well past 9 o'clock, but she was also very curious. It wouldn't hurt to do a simple spell. I know what we should try. Jenna's voice was high-pitched in rush. It's super cinch. The spell is called Light in the Dark. Kat was confused. Didn't they have to open the circle again? She questioned Jenna. We can work magic without opening a circle? Yeah, you can work magic anytime, anywhere. It's best to do it in the circle. It offers protection from unseen forces, and it's more powerful, explained Jenna. But if you don't have time to erect a circle, you can totally do magic anyway. Let's just try this quick, and then we can go. Jenna started blowing out all the candles that they'd placed on the surrounding rocks. The inky dark encircled them, and their eyes adjusted again. The full moon illuminated Shrinington, casting a silvery glow onto the smooth slab of the stone. Jenna started her spell. As dark is light and light is dark, candles shall light without a spark. Nothing happened. Say it with me, you guys, Jenna urged. Kat joined in with Jenna, and they intently chanted together. As dark is light and light is dark, candles shall light without a spark. As dark is light is dark, candles shall light without a spark. As dark is light is dark, candles shall light without a spark. And suddenly, all the candles flamed in unison, and the shrine was bathed in a golden glow of candlelight. They had done it. Working together, their spell had been cast. Their magic had worked. Kat knew that there were many lessons to learn, and she tried to keep her head as Jenna and Winnie danced around enthusiastically. Jenna held her hand out, and Kat grasped it, and they all spun around in a circle, laughing until they were almost crying. The candles blurred as they whizzed around, creating the illusion of being in a fire spiral. Winnie's high-pitched laughter, a cackle, if you will, echoed around them. Kat sobered herself. You guys, it's super rad that we can do this, but we don't know how any of this works. We should read more about magic before we cast any more spells. There has to be rules. There's rules to everything. Okay, Kitty Cat, that's enough for now. Let's go, Jenna agreed. The girls gathered up their tools and put them in Jenna's bag. Before anybody had the chance to claim the spell book, Winnie piped up. I think I should be the one to take Ruby's grimoire tonight, and then Jenna can have it, and then you, since you're the... Before anybody had the chance to claim the spell book, Winnie piped up. I think I should be the one to take Ruby's grimoire tonight, and then Jenna can have it, and then you, since you're the newest to our coven. Although it bothered her that Winnie was dictating things yet again, she decided to let it go. Fine by me, she agreed. Well past the point of caring about pecking order, Kat anxiously paced to the mouth of the cave. At this point, she just wanted to get home. She was tired and overwhelmed by her new status. A witch, a real live witch. They walked together through the woods in a comfortable silence. The moonlight slivered down through the branches, guiding their way. Then they arrived at Kat's gate. Jenna whispered, Good luck, Kitty Cat. This time, Winnie and Jenna had the courtesy to stay until she was on her front porch steps. Then they took off like thieves in the night. She walked in expecting her mom to be frustrated and angry. She was right. Where the hell have you been? School supply shopping doesn't take 8 hours, Cat. Her mother's voice was shrill and assaulted her ears. I tried to call you, but I didn't have a quarter for the payphone, she lied. Her mother got close to her face and pinched her fingers together so there was less than an inch of space between thumb and index. A furious whisper fell from her lips. I was this close to calling you in as a missing person. I know, Mom. I'm sorry. I lost track of time. We ate macaroni and cheese at Jenna's, and then we just hung out for a while. I just wanted to stay, you know. I should have called, but I didn't want to leave. Kat stared at her feet, ashamed at the strife she'd caused. I'm really sorry I worried you, but I was just out with my friends. Delia swooped in to hug her. I know, I'm sorry I flew off the handle. It's just hard letting you go. Her mom was getting choked up. Your dad is coming tomorrow evening. He's going to stay with us for the weekend. We have some stuff we need to talk with you about. Kat's stomach dropped. Devastation churned inside. She was certain she knew what they were going to say, and she didn't want to hear it. No wonder she'd overreacted at Kat's disappearing act. Mom, are you going to tell me that you're getting a divorce? Kat's eyes welled up with tears. Delia clasped her hands and chose her words carefully. I think we should have this conversation when your dad is here. Kat turned on her heel and ran up the steps, slamming her bedroom door. She dove into her pillows, sobbing. She hated them both. Why couldn't they just work it out? Everything would be better if they never left to live in this crap hole of a town. She would rather be in a one-bedroom apartment and near her father than have this nice house out in Bumblestick nowhere. Guilt washed over her. They bought this place for her, and now it was ruining their marriage. Kat didn't bother getting into her pajamas. She sobbed herself to sleep. Her last thought before drifting off was that she would work a love spell and make everything okay again. She just had to wrestle the grimoire away from Winnie. As the Stonehearts sat down for dinner the next afternoon, Kat watched her parents acting very peculiar. They were cordial with each other. Usually dinners were relaxed with lots of talking and joking. The mood tonight was somber. Her mother's silence was deafening, and her dad would not meet her gaze, preferring to fiddle with his silverware. She'd never known him to not take an interest in her. She moved the food on her plate from one side to the other, not hungry, waiting for the inevitable news. Steve cleared his throat. Kat, honey, your mother and I wanted to talk with you tonight about some things. She looked up from her dinner with a scowl on her face. Steve continued. I am ashamed to admit this, but I've met someone. She's been keeping me company in St. Paul, and it's caused some problems with your mother and I. Kat's eyes grew wide as her father explained that he'd been cheating on her mother. It knocked the wind right out of her. It wasn't just Delia that he cheated on, it was their family. He'd betrayed her too. She felt like a dull blade was raking across her heart. Delia had silent tears streaking down her cheeks, and she was wiping them away furiously, trying to hold it together. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and the mascara made dark pools under them. She looked so worn down. It was unbearable. Steve continued, looking at his hands that were clasped before him. I don't want to get separated, Kat. I've ended it, but your mom and I need to. Kat cut him off mid-sentence. Rage filled her voice. You betrayed us. You betrayed me and Mom. You said that moving to Warden would be the best thing that ever happened, and it has been nothing but the worst thing, and I hate you, Dad. I hate you, and you're such a liar. With that, she pushed back from the table and grabbed her backpack and ran out the door. She just ran and ran, faster and faster, the wind drying her tear-stained cheeks, her lungs taking in the cool air, the wind flicking her hair in all directions. Kat didn't think. She just let her legs carry her. When she finally stopped, she found herself in the clearing, staring at the weeping willow. It was fitting that she'd found herself here. This is where she wanted to be as she wept about her family falling apart and the looming despair of attending school. She even cried about her new abilities because she'd never set out to become a damn witch in the first place. The things she'd discovered they could do made her more anxious than she dared to admit. She was forbidden from telling anyone else, and even if she did tell her mother, she wouldn't believe that she'd been accidentally sucked into the craft, or that even magic existed. I'm trapped here, she whispered to herself. After exhausting all her tears, Kat laid down, her eyes so tired. The sobbing had taken its toll. It was peaceful under the canopy of the willow, and the weight of her lids were just too heavy. While she drifted off, something flapped near her face. Bewildered, she opened her eyes to see something that could not exist. A small woman, the size of a hummingbird, with wings that moved just as fast. The wings were very colorful, but the rapid movement made it hard for her to focus on what she was seeing. When the pixie realized that Kat saw her, she flew away as quickly as she appeared. Furiously, Kat rubbed her tired eyes. They must be playing tricks on her. Still, she called out into the evening. Her voice was clear against the hum of the tree frogs. I saw you. I won't hurt you. I think I've seen you before, at my willow. She was met with only silence, but she continued anyway. I came here because I'm hurting. This place is peaceful, and I needed to be alone. I hope I haven't frightened you. I'm going now. With that, she picked up her backpack and slid it on slowly. She stretched a little bit before heading back. The sun had sank low in the sky, leaving a thin orange line at the horizon, and the land was swathed in silver hues. She knew she'd been gone quite a while. Kat found herself on Jenna's doorstep. She didn't want to go home. She rang the bell and Jen appeared in the doorway. He was so handsome, and she must have looked just awful with her bloodshot eyes and messy hair. Is Jenna home? She said, barely louder than a whisper. Yeah, come on in. Are you okay? He asked sincerely. She was grateful, he noticed. I need to talk to Jenna. She's in her room, upstairs to the left. So Kat climbed the beautiful cherrywood staircase and walked down the long, narrow hallway. Jenna's room was the last on the left, directly across from Jet's room. The door was closed, so she knocked quietly. Jenna, it's Kat. Can I come in? Jenna was at the door in a heartbeat. Hey, kitty cat, she said cheerily. Then concern grew on her face as she saw her young friend. Are you all right, girlie? She opened the door and let Kat in. Kat spent the next few hours spilling her guts, and Jenna seemed to understand. Her dad wasn't around anymore either, but he'd been out of the picture since the twins were little. The two commiserated over their parents. Jenna talked about her sick mom and how painful it was to see her fighting for her life, the fear of what would happen if she did die. Kat needed to vent about how much of a douchebag her dad had been. As it grew late into the evening, she realized it was way past time to go home. As painful as it was, she had to deal with her parents. She didn't mention what she'd seen or where she'd been. Doubt had crept in, and she was reluctant to believe that she'd even experienced the encounter at all. Perhaps she was half dreaming or something. She'd heard of people doing that before, opening their eyes, but still half in a dream. Jenna walked her to her gate and gave her a hug before she went inside to face the turmoil. It seemed so funny to her that only a month ago she didn't really have friends, and now Warden was starting to feel familiar. She put on a brave face and bounded up the creaky steps of the front porch, alerting her parents to her return. The porch light had been left on, and her dad was dozing on the couch. She slipped up to her room without talking to either of them. Delia had heard her come in, but decided against confronting her. She plopped onto her bed in relief. Kat pulled her quilt up over her head. She was too exhausted to change into pajamas. She let the hot tears slide down her cheeks again as she thought about her parents, her crappy social life, and her mind that seemed to be going off the rails. Just a moment. I'll be right back.